Thanks for being here.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Sure. Well, first, can you just tell us, who are you?
Yeah. My name is Olivia. I have been living in Los Angeles for almost 3 years, which is crazy. I was thinking about that today. I serve on Mosaic Future Team with you guys. And it's the best. The students are the best. And yeah, that's pretty much me. 27 years old.
27.
Recently.
Me too.
What up? I didn't know we were age twins. Sorry. And that's it. That's me.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that. So one of my favorite things about you is you're always carrying this like joy, and you just celebrate everyone around you. Like you walk in a room and it's just so much better.
Oh.
Like you just feel that every time I'm around you. And I want to know, like, where does that joy like come from? Like, where does it stem from?
It's a great question. I would say that my joy like mostly comes from people. Like I just thrive off of other people, and like I'm like ultimate extrovert, and I always want to be around people. And like being able to celebrate like people that I love is like one of the greatest joys of my life, because I just think about like I love being celebrated. So if I can celebrate other people just as much, like if I love it, like why wouldn't I do that all the time? So I think definitely like just being able to channel the energy from other people, and like if it's a little bit down, like I'm definitely gonna bring it up because I'm loud and I'm fun.
I'm fun.
So I would describe myself 100%. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank
I feel
you.
like that's definitely a gift. I've seen you do that in so many different ways. I know that this year's been super tough for different reasons. And yet you're still able to lift up the room, like regardless of what is happening in your life or in the room at all. Like you have still been there to make our team more joyful. So like, how do you do that?
So I know like this year's been hard for literally everyone, like literally every single person. But just to touch on my personal story a little bit. So earlier in March, I lost my best friend to cancer, and like that was definitely like one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. Like I've lost people, but it's like they're older, and you know that it's like natural that she was so young, and so I think for me, like knowing who she was and how she celebrated life, like how could I not want to still do that every day? Like I live my life because I think about like what would she do if she was here, and like she was the best at celebrating people, the best at celebrating life, and like bringing joy to every room that she was in. And so I think every day I wake up and I'm just like, I get to live this life and celebrate it, and I'm gonna do everything that I can to like bring joy and love and all that energy to everyone.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. I love that you're so open, like when things happen to you, and I think that, you told us there was a lot of death, a lot of struggle, and like where was that point for you that you had to choose joy? Like it was like a switch for you.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely sat in the sadness for a while. I think it's okay to sit in the sadness for a while, and I know like with everyone losing their loved ones this year and losing their jobs, and it's just so easy to sit in that. But it's like life is gonna go on. Like there's things happening that all around us, and there's so much good. And so I think it just took kind of me taking the time to realize the good that was going on, to then think like, okay, like there's so much good happening. How can we not stop to take a second and like, yes, there's lives being taken and like jobs being lost, but there's also so much good happening. And like I just try every night when I go to bed, I like thank God for like things that happened to me that day. And I think that was kind of the switch that flipped for me, because it was like, okay, I sit here and I can complain about 1 or 2 things, but then I list 500 other great things that happened that day, and it's like, so how long am I going to allow myself to worry about those 1 or 2 things when like every night I'm going to bed thanking God for so many things? So that was definitely like the switch that flipped for me for sure.
Wow.
I'm wondering what would you say if you maybe hadn't been someone who created a habit of bringing joy to every walk of life before this year? Like maybe someone who just had a hard time in general with enjoying life.
Yeah.
Like what would you say to someone who's like, okay, well, I'm so happy for Olivia who's able to like just flip it, you know, and who has that kind of perspective. But what about someone who all they see is the 500 bad things?
Yeah. I would say surround yourself with people who bring that opposite energy, because I know for me, when I'm sitting in my sadness, if I'm alone, then that's all I'm going to think about. And like that's where I'm going to be stuck. And so if you already struggle with that, I would say surround yourself with those people who bring that opposite energy of just like joy at all times, like almost to an annoying point. Like I know me and my roommate are like very opposite in that way, where like I'm just like overly obnoxious and like loud and all the things at all times. And so I like don't let her sit. If she's sad, like I'll sit with you, but like at some point I'm gonna crack a joke. At some point I'm gonna like make you smile and laugh, because I need you to realize like it's okay to smile, it's okay to laugh, it's okay to feel all those feelings. Like you can be sad but then still feel joyful, like at the same time. They don't have to be like one or the other. So I would definitely say find someone in your life who you can go to, tell them your problems, sit with you in that for a minute, but then you know like they're gonna pull me out of this. So for sure.
I'm like happier just talking to you.
I'm happy talking to you guys.
Well, thank you for sitting down with us.
Of course.
You are such a light, and I know our team is just so much better because you're part of us. And we just love you, Olivia.
I love you guys. Thanks for letting me